In the year 1910, a man by the name Bert DeLeach cut out the throat of a fellow resident of the town of Scotia, Pennsylvania. For this crime, he was hanged and his body dumped in his own backyard. His mother was not permitted to bury him in the cemetery. It is said that because DeLeach's body was not properly laid to rest, his spirit rose from the grave and he haunted the town of Scotia, terrorizing its residents. Scotia is now completely abandoned, and the only evidence that the small mining community ever existed are the massive, decaying concrete monoliths left behind. "40 miles down the now defunct railroad tracks, another abandoned town can be found in the wastelands of Pennsylvania, a town once known as Ingleby. Ingleby, like Scotia, was abandoned as a result of urban myth. In that same year, 1910, Ingleby suffered its own string of tragedies, and it too became a focal point of superstition and terror.
Sometimes people get the Ingleby monster story and the urban legend confused. When you look at the situation, nobody decided to ever move back there and live there again. There is no truth to any of that. There was a family who bought land back in Ingleby and they built the farm that you can see the remains of the building. Family builds this farm, husband, wife, children. Like most families at this time, they would travel the road in and out to go to town, Coburn, to get their mail and groceries on a somewhat regular basis, every 2 to 3 weeks usually. The reason that they would only go 2 to 3 weeks is because it was a long trip for them. They didn't have automobiles, they're still traveling by horse and buggy. So with them traveling this distance, they would only do it on occasion and then make a day of it. Well, the postmaster noticed after a while that nobody had been in to collect their mail for a while. He said, we better go check on them. So somebody went out, and when they got there, there was no one there. No livestock, no people. Yet inside the house, it looked as though there was food out, the table was set like they had been preparing for a meal, and everything was just left. There were shoes under the beds, there were clothes hanging on the hooks in the house, but no sign of family, no sign of any of the livestock, and nobody knows to this day whatever happened to them. Story got out that there was something back in Ingleby, some sort of a monster that was supposedly invisible. Whenever you're walking or going, you'll feel a drop in temperature and you'll get the sensation of walking through cobwebs. Those were some of the indicators that the monster would be nearby.
The town of Ingleby was stripped down to nothing. In a way, it was given back to nature. But between the 1910s and the 1960s, something changed. The land that was once considered forbidden started to attract settlers once again. As of now, if one were to venture out into the secluded town of Ingleby, they wouldn't find the desolate, barren wasteland that they would in Scotia. They'd find a community. They'd find people willing to reminisce about their childhoods and the history of this strange phenomena of a town. Both Scotia and Ingleby suffered a tragic history. Both were places of murder, fear, and a frenzy of myth and superstition. But while one town has now rebuilt itself, the other remains desolate. Scotia has been ravaged by decay and pollution. Its wells are black, its grounds littered with garbage, and its walls canvases for depravity. Looking around Pennsylvania, there are dozens of other stories just like Scotia's. Run-down homes, abandoned construction, and skeletons of former, forgotten towns. Maybe urban myth plays a part in why these places remain the way they are, but if Ingleby can be given a second chance to thrive and to provide something substantial to a community, why can't these other places do the same? It seems for now Scotia will remain the way it is. The true ghosts that haunt Pennsylvania are not invisible specters rising from their coffins. The ghosts of Pennsylvania are the ruins of towns left alone to rot.